is the walled city that stands up on the hill of Medina, which was the ancient former capital of Malta, a walled city. So history is all around here in the middle of the Mediterranean. And these are the teams: Malta with Bonello in goal, Arpap, Steve Borge and Zach Muscat, the three central defenders. Then Joseph Mbong and Kane Attard are the two wing-backs. And then in midfield, Gulaimia, Tauma, Teddy Tauma of Union Saint-Gilloise. He's the star player, really. Went a long way in Europe with Union Saint-Gilloise of Belgium this season. Bjorn Christensen on the other side, the Maltese international with the Danish family. And then Jody Jones of Notts County, the number 11. He looks a little bit like Theo Walcott, I would say. And up front with Kirian Nwoko, who scored the winner against Luxembourg when Malta played them in a friendly to warm up for these qualifiers a week ago. And the England team tonight, just to run through it again: Jordan Pickford in goal, Kieran Trippier, Mark Gay, Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw are the back four. Declan Rice, after his European exploits a week past Wednesday, is in the team. Trent Alexander-Arnold in midfield, Jordan Henderson there as well, and then the front line of Bukayo Saka, Harry Kane and James Maddison. So Marcus Rashford's on the bench, Matt Upson and the Manchester City contingent as well.
Yeah, interesting selection. Maddison, you just feel, has earned his place. He did so well against Ukraine, and I think he's been waiting a long time. Gareth Southgate's brought him back into the fold. He has another opportunity this evening to try and stamp some authority on that position in the pitch.
So it's a lovely evening here. Very, very windy though over the course of the last...
It's very windy.
Yeah, for the last 24 hours. And those flags that I mentioned are billowing away in the stand above the England fans. But that's island life for you, I suppose. And here we go, ready to start. So this is, remember, bottom against top in this group, qualifying Group C for next summer's European Championship finals in Germany. The referee's from Croatia, Igor Pajac. He blows his whistle and it's Malta who get us underway, and immediately Jody Jones of Notts County confidently carrying the ball forward towards the edge of the England penalty area, but England were able to clear it away, and the ball is played back to Luke Shaw, who's on the left-hand side. This England team, that's 4 changes from the team that started against Ukraine at Wembley in the second match in the group. England winning in Naples and then winning at home against Ukraine. And remember, Luke Shaw was suspended for that match after being sent off in Italy. So Shaw coming in at left-back, Mark Gay into central defence. He's not played for England for over a year now. Kieran Trippier at right-back, and as I say, Alexander-Arnold in midfield. And it's Alexander-Arnold who's on the ball and playing it up towards Bukayo Saka. As Matt Upson has said, we're expecting lots and lots of England possession. North Macedonia is the second of these two qualifiers at Old Trafford on Monday night, and I believe there are still tickets available for that match if you wanted to go along. But here's Harry Maguire at the back. There was a mixed response, I noticed, inside the stadium when his name was read out. That just seems to be the way with him, doesn't it?
It's just an interesting response, isn't it, from the Maltese crowd, really, wasn't it? I don't know whether or why that is, but you're right, it just seems to be a response that is there when Harry Maguire's name is read out and when he's involved. But he's straight in with the tackle there, John.
There he is now, sliding in on the tackle in centre field to knock the ball deflected out of play for a throw into England near the halfway line. I'll tell you why that might be, because we were reliably informed that Manchester United have one of the biggest foreign followings here on this island in Malta, a huge Manchester United supporters club following. Ball at the back with Mark Gay playing as the right-sided central defender. So Maguire and Shaw on the left-hand side of the defence, the Manchester United connection. And now the ball is played up to James Maddison, who goes down rather easily in the challenge from Gulaimia, but it is a free kick 15 yards inside the Maltese half.
Nice position, he picks the ball up though, John, isn't it? I think Maddison's so good at that. He's not going to stay wide, he's not one of those wingers. He's going to stay out wide on that left-hand side. He's going to want to come in and receive the ball more central, which is where you just feel he's most dangerous. He can then link up, spin that little ball round the corner into Harry Kane, and then play off of that. He's not going to want to stay on the touch line and pick the ball up on the left-hand side all the time.
So it's a free kick. But actually he's just now climbing to his feet, and the referee's just telling him that I think he's maybe added a little bit of time on there or whatever, but he's back on his feet. Jordan Henderson takes the free kick short, and it goes back into the England half. So Mark Gay of Crystal Palace, that's a misplaced pass from him that Bukayo Saka couldn't keep in on the far side. He was looking for Trippier, but the assistant's flagged on the far side, and it's a throw-in to Malta. Not the way you want to start there, just a little sloppy.
No, it's one of the hardest things about playing matches against opposition like this, and you've got a lot of time on the ball, but you don't want that time. You want to release the ball quickly, you want to move the ball quickly, keep it popping, even though the team you're playing against is doing nothing to increase that tempo. You almost have to create it yourself as a team. I think that's, especially when you're knocking the ball about at the back, you might have loads of time and no pressure, but that bit of detail, that bit of speed, that bit of quality from a centre-back or a full-back, breaking a line, firing a pass in quickly, just creates that yard that might get you out or might get you through into a little bit of space against a team that's going to sit in a little bit this evening.
Maddison just a little late there with the challenge. The ball had already gone, and he put in the challenge on Arpap, who stayed down. So it's a free kick to Malta halfway inside their own half. So Malta 0, England 0. You're listening to this on BBC Radio 5 Live. Listen via BBC Sounds as well, of course, if you're on the move on this Friday night. And this free kick is going to be taken by Arpap himself, who's okay. I think I'll knock it back. He does to goalkeeper Henry Bonello. I was speaking to him yesterday. Henry Bonello, asked him about the prospect of playing against Saka and Kane and Rashford and whoever else. And he said, I don't think about them. I just concentrate on the job that I'm doing. Although I did say to Frank, our taxi driver, when we arrived here, I said, you do realise, don't you, that Malta could be playing against Saka and Kane and Rashford? And he said, if all of them are in the team, I'll be watching Tom and Jerry. Here's Maguire bringing the ball back from the halfway line. Shaw now plays it long and left-footed towards the edge of the penalty area, but Arpap was there to head it out of play.
Tom and Jerry?
That's what he said. Yeah.
As in the cartoon Cat and Mouse?
That's exactly them. France are already 1-0 up in Gibraltar, further along just along the coast from here, actually. Well, a little bit further than just along the coast. So Gibraltar 0, France 1, and Olivier Giroud scoring the goal. I was speaking to Julien Laurent last weekend in Istanbul at the Champions League final. I said to him, we're off to Malta this week, and he said, yes, I'm off to Gibraltar. Here's a cross from Alexander-Arnold, crossing the ball into the middle, and that is headed behind by Ferdinando Arpap for a corner to England, there first.
That was lovely play. Trent Alexander-Arnold really finding himself out wide. Saka had dropped deep and he'd gone on the overlap, and he skipped past one defender, was on the run, and actually just dinked a nice little cross into the box with his right foot. I really do like seeing him high up and in those attacking positions, John. I think that is such his area of the pitch of where his skill set lies.
That's exactly what they're looking for from him. Corner then, Trippier to take it, a big outswinger, caught the wind. Harry Maguire ends up in a heap on the edge of the box. Still England in possession. Here's Kane, left side of the box. Kane shoots low, and down goes Bonello to make the save, although it was scrambled away from him by... in fact, it was deflected wide. I think the stab there from Harry Maguire, who was in the 6-yard box, took it straight behind for a goal kick. But Maguire with a final touch, but Harry Kane going for goal, and the first save from Henry Bonello.
He has a decent save. I mean, he shouldn't have been allowed to get the shot off really there, Harry Kane, on his left foot. It was Borges who just allowed him to get the shot off, and I think Maguire just followed that up. I mean, it wasn't quite in the goalkeeper's grasp, was it? He had one hand on it, but he didn't really have control of the ball, so I think Maguire was well within his rights to have a stab at that.
Yeah, and caught it cleanly, but the ball back in play now. 0-0, still early stages of the first half. The ball played across by Mbong, and then Tauma slips the ball into the penalty area, but Trippier comes across and is able to clear it away. A little bit of danger there. Tauma is the danger man, but Saka does ever so well on the halfway line. He's away from the defender, streaking down the right wing now, but a heavy touch actually knocked it into the path of Steve Borges, who was able to clear it over the hoardings onto the running track.
He just skipped past Muscat there. Saka really showed his skill and pace, and you're going to have moments like that where they're going to just breeze past players, but then it's about having the composure, not getting too carried away. Just overran that ball a little bit, had a bit of a heavy touch, and the Maltese team was able to get back in.
But Tauma looking sharp, number 10 on his back, playing in the central area. Teddy Tauma of Union Saint-Gilloise. They were involved, if you remember, right at the start of this season in that dramatic Champions League qualifier against Rangers, when the Belgian side won 2-0 in the home leg, and then Rangers won 3-0 at Ibrox to go through. But they then went on to have a decent run actually to the quarterfinals in the Europa League as well, and he is their captain, and he showed what he was capable of there.
I think this right-hand side of the Maltese team is actually their best side. I'm looking at Mbong, who's started quite brightly, that player, and Jody Jones, all on this right-hand side.
Saka into the box, knock it into the middle, and I think it's come off the defender for an own goal. Well, England take the lead. Harry Kane was in the middle. I think the final touch was off Ferdinando Arpap, who was racing in there ahead of Harry Kane. He's ended up in the back of the net, the Maltese defender, and he was kind of suggesting with his body language there wasn't anything else I could do. Harry Kane was right behind me. So it is Malta 0, England 1 in the 9th minute.
I'll tell you what, who's that with the pass, John? Trent Alexander-Arnold. That is why he's been selected in that position in the team. What a ball from him. Comes inside the pitch, and it's just an instinct. He knows Saka's pull wide. Saka with a lovely bit of movement, just dropping short and then spanning behind. But the timing, first time from Trent Alexander with that right foot around the corner with that lovely bit of bend and swerve on the ball, just whips it down the line. Saka's onside, and then he's in, squares the ball, and I don't think there was too much the defender could do. Harry Kane was bearing down on it. He just tried to clear it, didn't he, and ended up banging it into the back of his own net.
Well, if Malta give Bukayo Saka as much space as they did there in the remainder of this match, then he will have a field day.
It's the pass, John, isn't it? It's this pass from Trent Alexander-Arnold is so quick. As a defender, your position's got to be absolutely bang on. You've got to be ready for that, and it's very difficult. They won't be too used to playing against players that can pass the ball like that.
Harry Kane, I think, was doing his best to try and get a touch on that, but clearly it was a final touch off Arpap. So it is Malta 0, England 1, and it took England less than 9 minutes to take the lead. And here is Saka again on the right-hand side. Saka does well up against Attard, pulls the ball back to the edge of the area. Alexander-Arnold is there, square from him to Luke Shaw, 25 yards out, stabs it into the penalty area. Harry Kane takes it out into the full-back position. Luke Shaw is there as well. England in the white shirts tonight. And then infield towards Jordan Henderson. Henderson had a little look goalwards, but cut back onto his right foot, plays it to the left-hand side to James Maddison. Maddison just relegated with Leicester City, of course. Remains to be seen what will happen with his future. Likewise, Declan Rice, who's on the ball now. Now it's out to the right-hand side to Saka, and then back to Kieran Trippier, who will go back into the centre circle. So England already leading by 1-0. And, of course, we're keeping across the matches, the qualifiers involving Wales and Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland tonight as well. Let's see how Wales have started in Cardiff. Carl Roberts.
10 minutes played in Cardiff, and they've just taken the lead. Dan James with the goal. The Wales wingers teaming up. Brennan Johnson with the ball, irresistible ball across the 6-yard box low, and there was James at the far post, left-footed. He couldn't miss from 6 yards out. 10 minutes played. Wales 1, Armenia 0.
So England in front, Wales are in front. John Southall's monitoring pictures from Denmark. How are Northern Ireland doing?
They're doing okay, so far so good, John. Denmark 0, Northern Ireland 0. They're pressing Denmark well. One chance for Denmark. Olsen on the right, picked out Højbjerg, his acrobatic volley wide of the left-hand post. So far so good. Denmark 0, Northern Ireland 0.
And in Athens it is Greece 0, Republic of Ireland 0, and that is the same group in which France have already taken the lead against Gibraltar. Netherlands in that group as well, who are involved in the Nations League finals this month. Malta 0, England 1, BBC Radio 5 Live. England of a different hue playing this evening after the very, very interesting events at Edgbaston earlier on today, and of course Test Match Special will be back on air in the morning, an 11 a.m. start. You can listen to Test Match Special on Sports Extra via BBC Sounds, or indeed, as I was doing today, overseas via the website. Here's Trent Alexander-Arnold, middle of the half, low ball to Saka on the edge of the box. Saka up against Attard, back onto his left foot, but then hits the shot with a bit of whip on it, a bit of bend, but it wobbled away wide of the far post and behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, he's having a good time, isn't he? Saka on the right-hand side. I mean, Muscat and Attard are really trying to get to grips with him, but he just manages to find space, and he's one of the best I've seen at creating that half a yard to get a shot off. He's got an unbelievable little shuffle of the upper body just to throw a defender off balance, and he just tried to cut inside there onto that left foot and get a shot off. I'm sure he'll be hungry for a goal this evening, Saka.
Yeah, Saka's just had He's one of the players who we've thought so much about Manchester City this season. Declan Rice of West Ham with their European commitments, but for Bukayo Saka, he's had a little bit of a rest, hasn't he? And chance to recharge after his...
He looks fresh.
Yeah, after his 15 goals, personal best for Arsenal this season. And the ball is given away by Malta straight to Rice. Rice back to Saka, but it was a little bit short from Declan Rice. And Malta have got possession back. And indeed, they go all the way back to Henry Bonello in the goal to our left. Malta, one of the real minnows of world football. Since they start playing them in 1962, they have won precisely 7 of 226 World Cup and European Championship qualifying matches. 7 out of 226. But they've had the odd notable draw over the years. West Germany, Portugal, and actually this is the second consecutive match where they've played in front of a sellout crowd here at the Takali Stadium, because Italy were here in March and Italy ended up eventually winning by 2-0. So it is Gay at the back for Crystal Palace. Really stepped it up, I'm told, in the latter part of the season when Roy Hodgson was the manager. Gareth Southgate will be well aware of that, so he's in the England team. I feel a bit for Lewis Dunk of Brighton as well, who had to pull out injured last weekend. I have a feeling that he might have seen some game time in these matches. Maguire heading the ball over the halfway line for Henderson, who's taken a knock on the ribs there, I notice, and actually just leans forward. Shaw, though, curls the pass towards the edge of the area. Steve Borge was able to come across and prevent it from reaching Maddison, and Malta have got the ball at the back, halfway inside their own half. It's just played forward by Gulaimia, and then Jones for Malta. Back to Mbong, who goes for a big, high, crossfield pass towards the left-hand side, which is headed forward for England, but Malta back in possession inside their own half. So Matt Upson is here with us in Malta, England World Cup defender. We'll hear from Rob Green later as well, England World Cup goalkeeper. He's watching from afar, but so far very predictable for England. And here they are on the edge of the area. Maddison heading it forward, just nodded away by Arpap. Bounces down for Henderson. Maddison's having a look over his shoulder after a challenge on him, feels that might have been given as a foul, but play on. Nice turn from Alexander-Arnold just on the edge of the box, gives it to Saka on the right hand side, then back to Kieran Trippier. Now Declan Rice turns and he will knock it infield towards Henderson, who's made himself available. Jordan Henderson just forward of the centre circle, now to the left hand side to Maguire. Maguire low up towards the feet of Maddison. Maddison now to Luke Shaw on the left hand side. This is good England possession, and Maguire will knock it back to the halfway line to Mark Gay again. He will get the ball out to the right-hand side to the Newcastle United captain for most of this season, Kieran Trippier. Then back to Declan Rice again. Rice back to Gay in the centre circle, and England's domination of the possession continues. Malta just sitting off them, 1-0 down. Maguire, and then Jordan Henderson will knock it all the way back, halfway inside his own half. England just playing the patient game.
Yeah, they can, can't they? They're able to find a little space and just move the ball, especially along the back line and into midfield. Maddison just going very, very central now, almost like a number 10 role, with Luke Shaw pushed so high and wide on the left-hand side. Just creates that extra attacking player. But England looking very comfortable in this big passage of possession.
And here they are, still holding the ball in the central third of the field. Comes back to Mark Gay inside his own half. That own goal was the 58th that England have benefited from, so own goals are still holding off the threat of Harry Kane, as Alexander-Arnold, oh, that's a poor ball into the penalty area, just floated aimlessly into the box, and Bonello was able to deal with it. Yeah, own goals 58, Harry Kane 55. Long from Bonello, and that will bounce all the way through to Jordan Pickford, who I'm not sure if he's actually had a touch of the ball yet, Jordan Pickford. Greece are leading 1-0 against Republic of Ireland. So Greece won, Republic of Ireland, and that was a penalty. England with it on the halfway line with Harry Maguire and the Manchester United captain, another whose future is certainly not by any means certain. As I said to Gareth Southgate yesterday, I asked him the question about Declan Rice, actually, about whether, you know, all of this is a distraction for him, and he said, in actual fact, I've got about 7 or 8 whose futures are by no means certain.
And some of them are probably, you know, way more in doubt or not sure than what Declan Rice is. You know, he's in a position where he's happy at a club that's had a successful end to the season and there's a potential move, but some players are needing to move, aren't they, to get out of a situation or to really find their feet or to get game time, like Harry Maguire. It's a much different position to be in than the one that Declan Rice is in.
Mark Gay just heading the ball away and challenged by Kieran Nwoko, who has just put his shoulder into his chest, and Gay went down. It's given us a free kick, so England take that out from the back. Gay is okay. It's his 4th cap tonight, Mark Gay. As I say, I think his form just dipped a little this season, but came back strongly at the end of the season, so missed out on selection for the World Cup squad. Now Rice, Declan Rice, playing it out towards the left-hand side. And then Henderson hits a low, fizzing pass out to Saka, but his initial touch was heavy, so Attard was able to come in and get a touch. And I'm told that actually Jordan Henderson hasn't had a touch. So, in fact, that was his first touch.
Yeah,
that he had there.
Yeah, got the ball out and just pinged it wide. But, I mean, Saka in that position, the amount of times he's feinted to come short and then just checked his run and gone in behind. And if the ball's right, like it was on the goal from Trent Alexander-Arnold, whoever that left back is, whether it's Muscat or Attard, one of the two who's out there at that time, they're just buying that all the time. They're just going in short and he's spinning behind, and there's just an ocean of space on that right-hand side if the pass is right.
England with the ball in the centre circle, and Harry Maguire has one of his runs forward with the ball, and then with his right foot plays it to the left-hand side. Harry Maguire, who, in contrast to his Manchester United selection issues, has started every game for England this season. Cross from the left-hand side from Henderson, that's cleared away on the edge of the box, and Maguire just puts his body into Jody Jones and allows it to roll out of play for a throw into England, just in front of the Maltese technical area, which I think is almost as big as the technical area in Istanbul last week. Throw in to be taken by Luke Shaw. He's winning his 30th cap tonight.
You could have a five-a-side in there, John.
Could. Shaw waiting to take the throw. Jordan Henderson has a look over his shoulder. In fact, the throw goes down the line to Maddison, and then in slides the defender Zach Muscat to put it out of play for another throw to the visitors, almost level with the edge of the Maltese penalty area. Harry Kane with a crossfield pass. 20 minutes played. England leading 1-0. Wales winning 1-0 in Cardiff in their qualifier. Still 0-0. Northern Ireland in Denmark. And as I just mentioned, Republic of Ireland 1-0 down. We'll have commentary tomorrow night, or tomorrow evening, tea time, on Scotland's game in Norway. Here's Saka on the right-hand side for England, but plays the ball. It actually just evaded Trent Alexander-Arnold, who was making a burst into the box. It was slightly behind him, so Malta were able to clear. It's just there's a little sort of edge of rustiness about England, isn't there?
A little bit. I know what you mean. And I think once you get that goal, it's now, maybe more so than if it was 0-0, now's the time where the attention to detail, that tempo, maybe being a bit more aggressive or a bit more dangerous with your passing in terms of taking a risk in the right area and not taking the easy option or relaxing too much is so comfortable, isn't it? That you just can't relax too much. You've still got to have that little edge to your play.
Alexander-Arnold is making himself very available here, isn't he?
Yeah.
And it's a real challenge to play in this role tonight. We're going to go to Cardiff in a moment. In fact, let's do that now, because Maddison is fouled 25 yards out. So come in again, Carl Roberts.
Through the first half here, and Armenia have equalised from absolutely nothing, and it's an Argentinian born forward, Lucas Zelarian, born in Cordoba, not far from Buenos Aires. He's got an Armenian father, and he has scored a stunning volley from 20 yards, top corner. Danny Ward, no chance. Wales 1, Armenia 1.
So Wales so far 4 points in the group, level with group leaders Croatia, but pegged back there. England still sorting out this free kick. I think we've got time to get another little update on Northern Ireland from John Southall.
It's Denmark 0, Northern Ireland 0. Michael O'Neill will be happy with this. Shane Lavery with their first chance, 20-yarder held by Schmeichel to his right-hand side, slight deflection. Denmark 0, Northern Ireland 0.
So England have got this free kick, very much left of centre, be 25 yards out, but there are certainly options there for England with Alexander-Arnold. I think Maddison's got the ball in his hands at the moment. Trippier as well is there as well, and Luke Shaw too. My money's on Maddison.
Is it?
Yeah. You?
I think Trippier, maybe.
Okay. Usually it's the player with the ball, in my experience.
You may be right, John, but I mean, it's...
He's going to knock it square, because Alexander-Arnold is just moving away to the right.
Yeah.
and Shaw's standing over the ball. Madison's certainly giving the impression that he really fancies this.
I'm
but
not
now
sure the goalkeeper's position,
well, he's standing right over. It's Madison with a free kick, and the goalkeeper was able to come across to his right and pat it down quite comfortably. Well done, Henry Bonello.
He did. He started very left. I know the ball was doing its job, but it looked like he was very focusing on the ball coming into the box, but he soon shuffled his feet, and it didn't have enough pace on it, did it, to get it up and down and in, but moved his feet well, the goalkeeper.
Yep, didn't play in the two matches when England last played Malta in 2016, 2017. Remember, Gareth Southgate's very first match as the interim after Sam Allardyce was against Malta at Wembley. Henry Bonello was an unused substitute for both of those matches, but here he is now in goal. So far, the only one he's conceded is the own goal. And we're into the second quarter of the match. 24 minutes on the clock.
Thinking back about how unsure Gareth Southgate was about even taking the job, wasn't he? And you know, almost found it difficult to think about that. And look how far he's come as an England coach and where England have gone in that space of time since he's taken over.
Yeah, this is his 84th match as the England manager. World Cup semi-finalists in 2018, Nations League semi-finals 2019, a European Championship for the first time for England in 2021, and then the quarter-final at the World Cup before Christmas. So one more tournament. I do believe it that it will only be one more tournament, Euro 2024, but we'll see. As Malta play the ball away from the back, England 1-0 up here, and then it's won back centrally by Rice. Madison puts his foot on it. It's very congested there, and in fact they've done enough, Malta, to get the ball back from it. Play it up towards Jody Jones of Notts County for Malta, the Londoner, over the halfway line. Rice going with him, but he's been able to find a little pass to the edge of the area. Then it goes to Mbong on the right. Now back to Jones again, 25 yards out, tries to take on Madison, who leaned into him. The home fans wanted a free kick for that, but referee Payats wasn't interested. Still Malta though, but Shaw's able to head the ball down near the corner of the box, and England have got it back securely. Harry Maguire just looks up, gives it to Trent Alexander-Arnold, who has to wriggle away from a couple of challenges. Telma put in the second of those, and it is Latvia 0, Turkey 1 in the other match in Wales group. Turkey with just the 3 points so far coming into tonight's match, but Turkey winning 1-0.
He gets the crowd going, Jody Jones, doesn't he, when he gets the ball? He's got a bit of intensity about him. He'll get it out of his feet, he'll drive at a player, or he'll offload it and play a 1-2, get it back. He almost just tries to get a bit of excitement into this Malta team to feel they've got the belief to go and score a goal.
1-0 England lead on this pleasant, dry evening. And the floodlights, the tall floodlights, sort of toothbrush style floodlights, brightly on, shining down onto the pitch. The covered running track around it, and Harry Maguire on the ball, number 6 on his back, playing the ball across to the right-hand side to Kieran Trippier. Spoke to him last night, we had a little word about what it's going to be like captaining Newcastle in the Champions League next season, but he's given it away here. Jones, fun, lovely Zidane-style turn. They enjoyed that, the home supporters, but I think he might have bitten off more than he can chew, and Shaw was able to come across and take the ball away from him. No shortage of confidence.
No, he was having a go, isn't he? And you see the reaction, hear the reaction from the crowd when he gets the ball, and it's this right-hand side of the pitch. I think that there's going to be anything of any kind of threat from Malta, it's going to come from the right.
Still 1-0 to England, but Jody Jones, he was on loan at Notts County and he's now been given a 2-year contract. But I mentioned, you know, quite an illustrious collection of clubs that he's had. And there's a lovely little article actually about him on the BBC Sport website on the football pages that you could have a look for. Had 3 ACL injuries from 2017 onwards, and that really disrupted his career. So he was at Oxford United for the first half of this season, but won his first cap in September for Malta, and then involved in that absolutely extraordinary end of the season for Notts County. Here is one of a series of thrilling playoff finals towards the end of the league season. Here's Shaw on the left-hand side, still just 1-0 on the night, so Jody Jones can still dream. Ball in the centre circle with Gay as England play from right to left, so towards the thousands of England fans in those white plastic seats under the Mediterranean skies to our left. Henderson back to Maguire on the halfway line. In fact, England have created relatively little other than the goal-scoring chance, but that's nice from Maddison. Now runs to the edge of the area, only half cleared. Alexander-Arnold, right foot, it flashes over the goalkeeper's dive, and that's the second goal for England. Well hit by Trent Alexander-Arnold, his second for England, and it's Malta 0, England 2.
As soon as you see the ball onto the right foot of Trent Alexander-Arnold, you almost know what's coming next, don't you? Lovely strike from him. He just sat up lovely. The moment I saw it there, I thought he's just going to clip that. He was winding it up with his right foot, and he just pulls it across his body a little bit into that far post corner. For one of the first times, we were just saying they haven't created a lot, but it was Maddison who just allowed the ball to run past him, gains that little bit of space, tries to play into Kane. It ricochets back out to Trent Alexander-Arnold, who had just anticipated that little spot outside the 18-yard box. His first touch is not great, it's across his body on the right-hand side, but doesn't he just adapt brilliantly with his right foot and pulls the ball across the goal. Goalkeeper diving full stretch to his right, can't get near it, and the ball's in the side netting. Lovely strike from him.
So there we are, playing in midfield, and I know it's Malta, ranked 172 in the world, but involved in the build-up to the first goal from this midfield position, playing the ball over the top for Saka. And then, and actually that touch that you mentioned, Matt, which took it slightly away from him, but it also gave him the chance to really wrap his foot around it. And here he is now on the left-hand side, Alexander-Arnold. Maddison's onto this on the edge of the area. It runs to Rice. Goalkeeper makes the save. And then in comes the challenge on Kane, and it's a penalty. Kane sent flying, tried to get there first. The defender clipped the England captain, who went flying. It was Gulaim Mia who caught him, and it's a penalty, another penalty to England.
Yeah, it's a shot from Declan Rice, but it's great work again from Trent Alexander-Arnold on the left-hand side this time. Gets down there, gets his head up, really cuts it back with his left foot. Declan Rice with the strike, and it's a clear penalty. Harry Kane gets there first, and the tackle comes in and just wipes him straight out.
Well, I don't need to tell you who's going to take this. I mean, Kane certainly made sure he was going to get the penalty as well. But it was, you know, it was late with a challenge.
Oh, yeah, it was comfortably a penalty.
But it is Harry Kane who's got the ball in his hands. He's chasing the own goal total of 58. So he's got a chance here to get his 56th goal. He's already England's record scorer from the penalty spot. Remember, before Christmas, I'm sure you can't forget, if you're an England fan, the missed penalty against France. But this is a chance for Kane to score in a 5th consecutive England match. And Kane backs away and is ready now. Short run up this one. Bonello waits on his line. Kane with the right foot from the penalty spot for England. That's unstoppable. High into the net. And England now lead here in Malta by 3-0. And Harry Kane scores a record-extending 19th penalty for England. 56 goals in total now.
I mean, there wasn't even a tiny part of me that thought that this wasn't going to end up in the back of the net. I think he knows Bonello's going to dive. He knows he's going to dive, and he knows he's going to dive probably to his right-hand side, because he just is going to throw himself either way to try and save this penalty. So he just calmly steps up to the ball and just dinks it with a little bit of pace into the middle of the goal. A little bit of height to it, but in total control of the situation. Both Harry Kane and England here in Malta. Couple of moments of really good quality have led to these opportunities. We were saying they haven't created massive amounts, John, have they? It hasn't been one of those matches where they've been really knocking on the door, been very composed in possession, but when it's mattered, they've had a few moments of really nice quality.
Well, I don't think there were too many people that were expecting anything other than an England victory, but I think significantly for England, after everything we've said over the course of the last few weeks, all of the, as Gareth Southgate himself said, you know, lots of complications about this team selection, to effectively have the match won inside, well, just over the first half hour is exactly what Gareth Southgate, who's standing down there rather Caesar-like actually, with his pose down the steps with one foot high on the 3rd step up, will be very satisfied with. So Malta 0, England 3 is the score here, and Kane is going to try and slip the ball through to Saka, who on the stretch couldn't get a touch, and it's through for a goal kick. And back to Cardiff, because Carl Roberts.
Armenia have taken the lead, John. 32 minutes, Wales 1, Armenia 2. The first goal came via Argentina, the second one via Germany. Grant Leon Mamadova has been pulling up trees for Bayern Munich's second team, scored 24 goals, earned himself a move to Borussia Mönchengladbach, and he's just made a mug of the Wales defence, heading in from 6 yards, found the space between two central defenders. Again, Danny Ward, no chance. Wales 1, Armenia 2.
I can tell you Republic of Ireland have equalised in Athens against Greece. That's 1-1. Nathan Collins has scored that goal. And in the other match in this group tonight, Italy aren't involved because they've been involved in the Nations League finals. North Macedonia have taken the lead against Ukraine. And as I say, England will play North Macedonia at Old Trafford on Monday night. Should remind you, just in case either you don't know or you'd forgotten, that the first two teams in these Euro groups will qualify automatically for the finals in Germany next summer. So were Ukraine to lose that, that increases the chances, with England having, it would appear, set themselves on the way to 3 wins out of 3, of getting the qualification job done, well, quite early. So 3-0 on the night tonight. This means that we may well see changes. We might see a Berichi Eze coming on for his first cap in the second half. Eze among the substitutes tonight for England. And Jordan Pickford's got his second touch of the match as the ball is played through, and he comes out to his left to pick it up. So Malta 0, England 3. If you've just joined us on 5 Live, Luke Shaw gives him another touch, Pickford, who controls the bouncing ball. So an Arpat own goal in the 9th minute, then Trent Alexander-Arnold scoring with a well-struck shot from between 20 and 25 yards out, and then Harry Kane with a penalty in the 31st minute. England scoring those goals number 2 and 3 within 3 minutes of one another. And Alexander-Arnold actually was involved in the build-up to that goal as well, from the left-sided position.
He's had a good night so far. All 3 goals, he's played a part. I mean, the pass for the first one was superb, and the finish for his second, but it was good work on the left-hand side that created that penalty opportunity.
Here is Alexander-Arnold then, hair bobbing as he crosses the halfway line. And up goes the pass to Saka, then back to a very casual and confident Alexander-Arnold, now through to Kane. Kane back into Saka, and the defender's got a touch on that, which deflected it at pace. Zach Muscat back to Bonello, who was able to control the ball, and Saka's actually been hurt in that collision with Zach Muscat, and so Bonello has just overarmed the ball out of play so that Saka can receive some treatment.
And he's just made the tackle, Muscat, going back towards his own goal, didn't he? He was kind of the wrong side, so the ball just fired out into Bonello, his goalkeeper, who had to deal with it, but I think Saka was planted in the ground when he makes the tackle, and he just looks like he's caught his ankle somehow.
So the England players are coming over for the water bottles. Bukayo Saka is receiving some treatment to his ankle. So while that happens, John Southall can update us on Denmark, Northern Ireland.
8 minutes till half-time, John. Denmark 0, Northern Ireland 0. Just a chance for Denmark since you were last with me. Joachim Andersen, good strike 20 yards out, but straight at Bailey Peacock-Farrell in the Northern Ireland goal. Denmark 0, Northern Ireland 0.
Obviously the second round is unfolding of the US Open Golf as well. We've got commentary tomorrow night on Sports Extra, then on 5 Live, here on 5 Live on Sunday night of the 3rd and 4th rounds. Wyndham Clark was leading. Last we heard from Ian Carter. We'll have more from him at half-time, and then more commentary on the Euro qualifiers tomorrow. Norway against Scotland from 5 p.m. tomorrow. Conor McNamara and Pat Nevin are in Oslo to bring you commentary on that match. Scotland top of the group. Well, Saka, Matt, is just getting to his feet and is actually really hobbling as he walks towards the far side of the pitch to leave the pitch momentarily. And is this the signal coming?
Maybe. I mean, he's no stranger to this, Bukayo Saka. I don't think there's many games that I watch him play that he doesn't get caught up in something like that, such as the way that he plays and the speed that he can go past defenders. He's always getting knocked and caught on his ankle. That was certainly one of those instances. It's just whether or not the medical staff feel it's bad enough to want to withdraw him, or maybe leave him on till half-time and reassess it then.
I'm missing. Oh yeah, there they are. They are. There is. Couldn't see anyone warming up, but I think that's Marcus Rashford, isn't it? Who's over there behind the goal. it's such an open ground. The area around the pitch is absolutely wide open.
It's a long way behind the goal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a long way back before you get to the seats. Saka is just rather tentatively trotting back onto the pitch now, so we'll see how things are with him. There are 7 minutes plus added time to go to half-time, and then Harry Maguire dives in on Joseph Mbong and concedes a free kick 7 or 8 yards inside the England half. But Malta 0, England 3. We'll have further thoughts from Rob Green as well at half-time, if we can get his microphone, if we can get the Wi-Fi sorted out. Here's Steve Borge with a pass that Tauma couldn't keep in, so it's a throw into England just inside their own half. San Marino 0, Kazakhstan 1 is another latest score. That is in Northern Ireland's group, where it is still Denmark 0, Northern Ireland 0. So England with the ball, with Harry Maguire. Here's Luke Shaw. Shaw has a look up and will actually play it back to Maguire. All the way across to the right-hand side to Mark Gay. Just carries it a little further forward, finds Nwoko in his path, so uses Trippier, then to Declan Rice. Declan Rice, obviously less of an issue with him having played in the final a week past Wednesday, so 9 days since then. Since there'll be famous pictures, won't they, for West Ham, one of your old clubs.
Yeah.
Declan Rice joining the list with Billy Bonds and Bobby Moore.
Amazing achievement for him personally and the club. Brilliant night, wasn't it? And I think he's so accustomed to churning out the games, Declan Rice. He plays back-to-back matches all the time, doesn't he? He's at that stage in his career where he can do that, and he's no stranger to having to play a lot of football. And he's just sitting in that middle of the midfield now. Is he just dictating things, sat in front of the back four, ticking the ball over and just doing his job, very comfortable, like the whole England team, really.
3-0 up and comfortable, England. 5 live from the BBC. Henderson out to Trippier, then Gay through the middle. Maddison on the turn in a central position, just tripped there. Free kick, England take it quickly, get it moving again. Back to the England captain, Harry Kane, with his fair hair swept back. Kane gets it again, and then turns and plays it back towards the halfway line. Did you see that he's given, as a thank you to all of his England teammates, a gold disc for helping him become the England record breaker, the goal scorer, which I thought was quite a nice touch. North Macedonia now 2-0 up on Ukraine. So North Macedonia 2, Ukraine 0. We'll be going there with England right at the end of this group. Shaw does well, beats Mbong, then Shaw to the edge of the box. Maddison went for the curler. That was blocked by Christensen. Bounces back for England. Henderson lifts it forward on the volley to James Maddison. Maddison infield to Henderson, and then Henderson back to Alexander-Arnold, right in the middle of the Maltese half. England with Rice now. Rice low ball to the edge of the box, but in steps Zach Muscat for the red shirts of Malta, and now Tauma's trying to bring it away, and then Mbong with the pass that I think will be short for Jody Jones. Yes, Luke Shaw just got there first, kept the ball in play, and England have it again.
I mean, you can tell they've got quite a nice philosophy, Malta, haven't they? They don't win the ball back and just try and hit a channel or clear the ball or hit it long. They want to play out, don't they? They look to try and get a few passes off into midfield or out wide and then link up and play. I mean, it's good to see them do that. The trouble is that they just haven't quite got the quality, or the press from England's too much, and they just lose possession time after time, and then they're stuck in their own half, so that they're not really getting out beyond the halfway line in any kind of possession, are they?
Let's get another update on Wales-Armenia from Carl Roberts.
4 minutes to go until half-time. It's Wales 1, Armenia 2, but Wales should be level. Harry Wilson put a lovely ball into the box. Joe Rodon got his head to it, but the angle was wrong. It went past the far post. Rodon never scored for Wales, still hasn't scored for Wales. Wales 1, Armenia 2.
Thank you, Carl. So Wales have got a challenge on their hands this evening, not so much England. 3-0 winners here. 4-0 last time they were here in the World Cup qualifier back in 2017. And as I say, 2-0 in England's first match under Gareth Southgate. We were challenged by one of our colleagues yesterday to come up with the England starting lineup for Gareth Southgate's first match. It took us a little while. We needed quite a lot of clues for that one. Here's Saka infield towards Alexander-Arnold. Alexander-Arnold then finds space for himself again. He's done ever so well in central midfield tonight. Luke Shaw now on the left-hand side. Luke Shaw drags it back, then he gives it away to Jody Jones. Malta could be on the break here, but Gay steps in at pace. Then Alexander-Arnold tries to play it over the top, headed away for Malta by Steve Borge, and then Bukayo Saka is able to keep possession for England.
It was nice from Gehe. That hasn't had hardly anything to do in this game, and that one moment where he has to anticipate, be really decisive and make a positive decision to step in and win that ball, does it really well. Very effective, very forceful the way he came in there.
In Wales group, Turkey are now winning 2-0 away against bottom of the table Latvia. So with Armenia winning against Wales, there could be quite a shuffle in that group tonight. As Maddison plays the ball back to the left-hand side. Here's the cross from Saka to the edge of the area, but it was controlled there by Kane Attard, who came across and was able to volley it away. Comes back to Malta on the edge of their own penalty area. Just really a buzz around the ground at the moment as Mbong is upended by James Maddison. The two of them shake hands, throwing a free kick to Malta near the edge of the area. Half-time approaching. Lots of movement in the stands. The England fans rather more quiet than they've been.
It's the quietest I've heard them.
It's the quietest I've heard them over the course of the last 24 hours.
They've certainly been
down
cheering
by
and
St George's Bay.
Yeah.
They've been singing.
Yeah.
It feels like they've been singing around the clock.
Yeah.
As the ball bounces back to goalkeeper Bonello.
I don't think I've walked outside the hotel and not heard.
I think they might have sung themselves
singing
out.
Yeah.
Here's Mbong. Mbong back to the edge of the penalty area. But as I said to Juliet right at the start of the programme tonight, really young crowd in the main. I think this is one that they've been planning for. There's a big festival going on the island of Gozo over these few days as well, which we flew over on the way into Malta. Here's Declan Rice. Declan Rice now bringing it forward, and then he's crowded out. 3 players around him, and it's another free kick 15 yards inside the half. Yes, Gozo, did you get a glance at that?
No, I didn't.
Absolutely parched island, and as you flew over it, all you could see, parched brown, but also tiny little aquamarine rectangles of swimming pools all over the place. Some of the coves look beautiful there.
No, I'm an aisle man. You must be a window seat, John.
Very much, yeah, very much windows for me. Here's Maguire. Yes, tucked away on the window on my own.
I think that's a good strategy.
Don't have to talk to anyone. Here's Gay with the ball halfway inside his own half. Coming up towards the halfway line. 1 minute of added time. I think that's rather light, given the stoppages that we've had in the first half. But 1 minute nevertheless. England winning 3-0. An Arpap own goal, and then further goals from Trent Alexander-Arnold, and the penalty from Harry Kane when he himself was tripped, brought down by Gulaimia inside the box. Here is Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think he's the talking point of the first half, isn't he? Plays it forward to Saka. Nice movement from Saka, cutting in field. Low left foot shot, good save. Bonello going down to his left to push it away wide into the full-back area. Shaw then with the cross for England, but that's cleared away on the edge of the penalty area.
It's a nice partnership, nice link-up, isn't it, between the two. Alexander-Arnold into Saka again. It's happened a couple of times really effectively in this game. Nice run from him as well, onto his left foot, Saka, where he wants to be, loves coming inside and just getting that shot. He tries to guide it, doesn't he, low to the goalkeeper's right, but he does get down quickly.
Turkey's second goal, by the way, was ruled out, so it remains Latvia 0, Turkey 1. So news on the other home nations coming up at half-time. But the half-time whistle goes here in the Tak Ali Stadium, and England very comfortable indeed. The 3 goals without reply, the Arpat own goal, and then Alexander-Arnold and Kane with a penalty. So half-time, Matt, 3-0 England.
Thoroughly professional, did everything they need to do. Interesting to see that combination, Alexander-Arnold and Saka. But second half, it's just about coming out with that tempo. Still professional, still on top of your game, but very good first half from England.
Yep, not the drama of Edgbaston here. It is Malta 0, England 3 at half-time.
And Rob Green watching Trent Alexander-Arnold. He is simply enjoying life out there tonight, isn't he?
He's loving it, isn't he? On the ball, he's getting it, creating the options, he's finding the space. He's clearly been given the freedom to say, OK, you can sit central and then move wide, or vice versa. Just alternating there, and from there he's just had the joy and picked his moments when he's not got pressure on him, and he's picked the pass, he's picked the shot, and what a half for him.
And I know we spoke about it before the match kicked off, and I suggested, could this mean that there may be a place that Gareth Southgate is looking for him on this performance? Is it clear that there is?
I think you're looking at someone to say, can he give us something different? And you're looking at someone in the midfield. You're used to seeing Declan Rice in there, Calvin Phillips in there, maybe Jordan Henderson as well, maybe John Stones in the future. He certainly gives us something different in there, and those runs that Saka made, especially for the first goal, but beyond there, whenever anybody's made a run in behind, he can look. And it's just a different option, a different angle for England to attack them.
Matt, you said in commentary that pass from Alexander-Arnold that led to that opening England goal was so quick to send Saka away from the midfield as well. What's impressed you the most?
Well, he's the best one-touch passer I've seen, Jules, to be honest. I think his ability to see it and the confidence he has in his technique and ability just to wrap that ball or float it or whatever the technique's required, he has it in his repertoire on the ball, and that's the exciting thing about him as a player. I mean, it's a false environment in terms of what he has to do out of possession, and that's a massive challenge for a midfield player. You play against a top team out of possession, such a key part of the game where you have to be intensity to get the ball back, mobility, physicality in that middle of the pitch. We're not seeing him tested in that way, but what we are seeing is a delight with the ball. And I think that little bit of link up with Saka on that side, who loves to make that run in behind, like Greeny was mentioned, that little spin inside, and he can find him every time.
Matt, Rob, John, back with you for the second half, where England lead Malta by 3-0 and very comfortable it is too. Let's check in at the Cardiff City Stadium. Wales against Armenia. Carl Roberts.
Half time here at the Cardiff City Stadium. Wales 1, Armenia 2. And when Dan James put Wales ahead after 10 minutes, and it was Wales' first half goal in over a year, a home win did look likely against an Armenia team who haven't won a competitive match in their last 9. James couldn't miss. Brennan Johnson set him up at the far post, and that was James's 6th international goal, and things looked rosy. But 10 minutes later, things took an unexpected turn, to say the least. Armenia's equaliser came via Argentinian-born Lucas Zelarian. His Armenian dad would have loved that 20-yard volley. 10 minutes later, Grant Leon Mamadova headed his first international goal and stunned the Cardiff City Stadium, which is full to brimming this evening. Wales have had chances. Joe Rodon, Kiefer Moore and Brennan Johnson should have scored, but Welsh hopes of topping Group D tonight are currently very much in doubt. Wales 1, Armenia 2.
Thanks, Carl. And John Southall, how have Northern Ireland got on in the first half against Denmark?
Well, they've done OK. It's Denmark 0, Northern Ireland 0, and I think Michael O'Neill will be more than satisfied with this. His side have worked so hard, and they've created not many chances, but they have stifled Denmark, who've had limited opportunities. A Højbjerg volley wide, and Anderson 20-yarder straight at Peacock Farrell, the sum total for them in the first half. Northern Ireland, one effort on goal. Shane Lavery with a deflected shot from 20 yards. It was comfortable for Schmeichel, but let's not forget they've got 10 players missing and 3 teenagers in the starting 11. So I think at half-time they'll be happy with this scoreline. Denmark 0, Northern Ireland 0.
And another half-time score for you. It's Greece 1, Republic of Ireland 1. Greece scored from the penalty spot after a lengthy VAR check. Republic of Ireland equalised through Nathan Collins. This is 5 Live Sport. Coming up after us tonight, it's Stephen Nolan on 5 Live, but we can get the latest news now from Dan Maudsley.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Police in Nottingham have charged a man with 3 counts of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder after this week's knife and van attacks in the city. Valdo Kolokani, who's 31, is accused of fatally stabbing Barnaby Webber, Grace O'Malley Kumar and Ian Coates in the early hours of Tuesday morning. Our Midlands correspondent, Navtej Jahal, is in Nottingham.
Valdo Kalokana will appear before magistrates here in Nottingham tomorrow morning. We've also learned today that 2 of those injured in the city centre after being hit by a van are now in a stable condition in hospital, while a 3rd victim has now been discharged.
The first person to lead the police watchdog, the Independent Office for Police Conduct, has been charged with sexual offences against a girl under the age of 16 in the 1980s. Michael Lockwood, who's 64, is accused of 3 counts of rape and 6 of sexual assault. He stepped down from the IOPC last year after it emerged he was under investigation. The US Justice Department has published a damning report on policing in Minneapolis in response to the murder of George Floyd in 2020. The report found the department used excessive force and targeted ethnic minorities. His death prompted widespread protests. Ann Bilson is the first assistant US attorney for Minnesota.
In Minneapolis, we reached a tipping point, born of a flawed system. And now, on this day, we are at a turning point. And there is the hope of change through justice. Following a thorough Department of Justice investigation, we have the resolve and the legal foundation to make fair and lawful policing a reality for our entire community.
And Greek officials are denying reports that suggest one of the worst migrant boat disasters in the Mediterranean in recent years was caused when coastguards tried to attach a rope to the vessel. Almost 80 people are confirmed dead, but hundreds more are missing after the fishing boat travelling from Libya to Italy sank. 9 suspected people smugglers have been detained.
The circuit Gilles Villeneuve, longitude and latitude 45 degrees 30 minutes 2 seconds north, 73 degrees 31 minutes 21 seconds west, 2.710 miles in length, 14 turns.
F1 live race commentary from the Canadian Grand Prix Sunday evening from 7
on 5 Live.
Max Verstappen wins the Spanish Grand Prix.
Listen on BBC Sounds. 5 Live Sport
with Juliet Farrington.
Second half commentary to come then from Valletta, where England lead Malta 3-0 at half-time in their Euro 2024 qualifier. We're going to check in on the second day as well of the US Open Golf shortly. But first, let's recap the first day of the Ashes and an incredible day at Edgbaston. There was a remarkable declaration from England, the earliest ever in the first innings of an Ashes test. They made 393 for 8 after Joe Root hit a brilliant 118 not out. Test Match Special was there to dissect all the drama as you would expect. And here's the former England captain, Michael Vaughan.
That has been a day of Test Match cricket where I think we've all kind of watched all day and we feel like we've watched probably 3 or 4. There seems to have been so much happening from the first ball. A few drop catches, some brilliant bowling, magnificent off-spin. An incredible 100 by Joe Root, England's greatest in my opinion, just produced a masterclass of how to play under pressure, then produce flair, the reverse sweep shots that he plays for 6, well, it's just remarkable. And then that last 20 minutes, I mean, that was theatre. The record of Warner against Broad, 2019, 7 for 35, he had him on toast, but I just saw Warner there. Warner against the ball that doesn't move laterally is a different cat.
It didn't move, did it?
And David Warner on this kind of surface, when the ball's not moving laterally, the clouds arrive tomorrow, it might swing, you never know, but if it goes gun barrel, and the next few weeks it goes gun barrel, get ready because Warner will have some fun.
Yeah. Jason Gillespie, welcome to Bazball. You never know what's going to happen next, I tell you.
Absolutely, and I'll be honest, I knew there's history of Stokesy declaring and having a little dart, but I must admit I didn't expect it tonight. I just thought Joe Root's 118 is flying. He's England's greatest ever, as Michael suggested there. He could have been 150, 160 not out.
And that's the point. So while we loved it and revelled in it and were excited by it, ultimately, is it the right decision?
Yeah, well, time will tell, won't it? But if it goes back to the ethos, though, it's what are we here for? We're here to entertain the fans. We're here to put butts on seats. You could argue it's the right decision for the game of cricket.
They're here to win the Ashes.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it. I'd have got as many runs as I possibly could in the first innings with Joe Root hitting the ball to all parts. England could have got potentially another 20, 30. You don't know. Joe might have arrived tomorrow. Take Australia out there for another 20, 30 minutes, get to 450. Clouds arrive. You just don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. So I wouldn't have done it, but I'm with Diz. This England team are trying to send a message that no other captain, I don't think, in the history of Test cricket has ever done. Yeah. And it is purely about entertaining people. And you can't tell me that those last 20 minutes were not great entertainment. I think half the Hollies stand were on their feet.
Yes, it was. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and I applaud England for that. And I applaud Ben Stokes. You look at right at the start of the day, we're all there. What's going to happen? The first ball, we go back to the last Ashes series. Mitchell Stark to Rory Burns. Bosh, straight away the Aussies on top.
Yeah.
Well, I reckon that's the first time in my lifetime that England went with the first punch. You know, you look at Slater back in the day. Jim was talking about it pre-match today. Slater against De Freitas in Brisbane. I think Slater against Goffey here. Harmy in Brisbane. Stark. We've never had a punch, and Crawley gave us that first punch. So good on him. Good on England. They're having a right good go. Brilliant to watch. But I, as a captain, I would have liked to get a few more runs. While ever Joe Root's out there, what a few more runs.
So much more reaction, a ton of reaction from day one and every day of the series on the Ashes Daily podcast. Don't forget, every ball will be live on TMS and BBC Sounds with in-play clips and highlights. You can get them on the BBC website, and there'll be extensive coverage of the remainder of the first test across the weekend here on 5 Live Sport. Play continues in the second round at the US Open in Los Angeles, and correspondent Ian Carter is watching.
Hi Juliet, yes, welcome to the Rory roller coaster. 4 bogeys, 4 birdies, the most recent coming at the 5th, his 14th hole, holing from across the green. That really did put a pep in his step as he heads to the short par 4 6th. It's got him back to level par for the day, 5 under par overall, and within 3 shots of the lead, which is jointly held now by 3 players. Ricky Fowler and Xander Schauffele, they've yet to start their second rounds after yesterday's record-breaking 62s for the US Open that took them to 8 under par. Wyndham Clark got it to 9 under at one stage, but then dropped a shot with 2 holes to go. The American, who's only won once on the PGA Tour, is also in the group at 8 under. Harris English has picked up 3 shots today. He's at 6 under, as is Sam Bennett, a pro now, but remember him as an amateur at the Masters. 3 under par for his round, 6 under overall. And so we're set fair for what should be an intriguing afternoon of golf when those leaders go out.
How's Matt Fitzpatrick coming along, the defending champion? How's he looking?
He's stuttering, really. He's not in the same form as he was 12 months ago at Brookline. He's 1 under par for the 14 holes he's completed so far. Level par overall, a tie of 35th. But he has had the big moment of the day, the 3rd hole-in-one of the week at the little short par 3 15th. So that was a fine moment for Fitzpatrick, but he just doesn't seem to be at the level that he was 12 months ago. And I think this is probably going to be an unlikely chance of a successful title defence.
Ian, I was on Hoylake this week. I was on the beach, had a little potter around, There was a little bit of yoga going on, but the course is coming along really well.
Yes, by all accounts, very, very firm, very, very fast, and the rough is very, very wispy as well. So it'll be an interesting challenge for the players, just as it was when Tiger Woods won the Open there in 2006. Sad news to report today, though, no Tiger Woods. It's what we expected. He had surgery on his right foot after pulling out of the Masters in April. He will not be fit in time, so the Open will come next month, and Tiger Woods will not be there.
Ian, thanks for updating us. There's loads of golf coming your way as well over the weekend from Ian and the brilliant team that we have. On Saturday, coverage of the 3rd round from 11 o'clock on Sports Extra. On Sunday, coverage of the 4th and final round from 10 o'clock on 5 Live. Back to our commentary team in Malta. Matt Upson alongside John Murray, and there are changes, John.
That's right, Juliet. They're making one change, England, and it's not entirely unsurprising after Bukayo Saka received treatment for that knock on his ankle late in the first half. So Phil Foden, Matt Upson, is the first of the Manchester City contingent, the celebrators, who is called on to step into the action. So Phil Foden coming on for his 24th cap.
Yeah, I just thought that they may just see him through till half-time, Saka, after that knock, and that's proven to be the case. They don't need to take any chances with him whatsoever, with the scoreline the way it is at 3-0. So Foden comes on and gets some time to actually get back into his groove a little bit with England. You know, in general, I suppose Phil Foden hasn't played as much as what he probably would have liked. So a good 45 minutes for him coming up.
Well, there's the whistle for the start of the second half, with England leading by 3-0. And Malta have made one change as well, and it is the central midfielder Matthew Gulaimia, who conceded the penalty from which Harry Kane made it 3-0. He's been substituted at the break, and he's been replaced by the number 20, another of the Maltese-based players, Yannick Yankam, who before today had started all 3 matches under the new coach, the relatively new coach, Michele Marcolino, down there. So Yannick Yankam comes on to replace him in the midfield. So it is, Mark Gay's missed his challenge there, but it didn't bounce through to Nwoko, and England were able to clear it away. So here we are then in Malta at the Takali Stadium, which stands on its own. There's a big forest, a big park just to the next, just nearby, and actually a big fun fair taking place. We can see one of the dramatic rides swirling around in the distance beyond the trees.
Stopping there on the way back?
I don't think so. I don't know whether that would be the wisest.
No,
and Malta with the ball inside their own half. Red shirts, white shorts, red socks, and it's passed back to Steve Borge near the edge of his own penalty area. England in their first choice kit, the white shirts with the blue trim on the shoulders, blue shorts and white socks. Here's Alexander-Arnold, man of the match so far. Right foot outside of it, but Maddison can't get there. Might have got a toe end to it, but it just bounces through for a goal kick.
It's almost like he can't just pass that ball in there, Alexander. He has to he wants perfection, doesn't he? Every time with his pass, and he gets it outside of the boot and tries to float it and almost help Maddison there by the angle of the ball to bring it down and really give him a chance to get a shot off. And it's just another little glimpse of the kind of detail or the ambition or confidence that he has with the ball, Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Henderson quickly onto it. Maddison tried to whip it low back into the path of Henderson, but just got his sights wrong there. Passed it behind the run of Jordan Henderson, and it was all the way through for a goal kick. So going back to Trent Alexander-Arnold, wearing number 10 on his back tonight, incidentally. How much of a live option is this that we're watching here, and how much do we have to take into consideration that the fact that they're playing the team that's 172 in the world?
Yeah, there's a large amount of consideration on that, John, if I'm honest, because they're just not getting challenged in the other way, which is out of possession, going back towards your own goal, all the things that midfield players have to do during 90 minutes of football against a team that's at a similar level to them. It's a very different requirement, and you only really know by seeing him in that environment and him playing in those matches. So yes, it's encouraging with the ball. It seems a bit unusual, but he's certainly adapted really well in this game and has got on the ball a lot in good areas of the pitch.
Malta 0, England 3. BBC Radio 5 Live. Listen as well via BBC Sounds, and commentary on Norway-Scotland coming up tomorrow, as well as all of the other top-level sport that we'll be bringing you over the course of the weekend, including Test Match Special back on air again in the morning. Here's Mbong on the right-hand side. Mbong, but Shaw steps in. He was being chased back there by Maddison, and it's actually Maddison who now passes it to Henderson, who I think Henderson was caught late there, and Henderson has stayed down. However, the pass found Harry Kane on the left-hand side, but Steve Borge came across to put it out, and Jordan Henderson is now actually rolling over and sitting up. I think it was just a collision, as I think it was Christensen, wasn't it, who was coming back across. And
it was a bit late.
Yeah.
A little bit late, but it's good defending from Borge, wasn't it? Did well, because it was a good pass from Henderson. Harry Kane had the ball, and he just did really well, the Malta captain, just to see Harry Kane wide and then just make a little interception, poke the ball out for a throw-in. It was good defending from him.
Yellow card for Christensen for that, but referee allowed play to go, and it resulted in a throw-in for England, almost level with the edge of the Maltese penalty area. Tauma wins it back for the home side, and then it's chipped forward but straight into the path of Trippier. Here's Phil Foden, the first of the treble winners, into action for England in these 2 end-of-season qualifiers. Listen as well on Monday night on 5 Live. We'll be at Old Trafford for the England-North Macedonia game, when, all being well, Tom Heaton, the Manchester United goalkeeper, will be with us on Monday evening. Manchester United and England. Dion Dublin as well. So that is on Monday night. And here's Maguire of Manchester United up to the halfway line, and then it's all the way back to goalkeeper Pickford, who's had next to nothing to do. He's been a virtual spectator, well out of his penalty area in the mint green kit. The England fans very subdued behind the goal to our left. Henderson dummies the ball, and then it's brought in from the left-hand side by Shaw, and then Declan Rice goes back to Gay, who passes it through the centre circle. Touch from Maddison. Now here's Foden. Turn from him. I thought he might have been fouled by Tauma. That's not given as a free kick. Jody Jones of Notts County with his hair tied up behind the back of his head, challenged by Trippier. ball stayed in play. So England have got it back. Henderson just plays it into the space on the left-hand side. Shaw is there. Shaw looks up and turns and will play it back into the centre circle. Jordan Henderson. Spoke to Jordan Henderson this week. I said to him whether he'd considered international retirement after the World Cup. He replied as quick as a flash, no, not for a minute. Through the middle, Alexander-Arnold. Now here's Maddison, 25 yards out, but the touch was poor. Malta have got it back, and there's been a goal in the Denmark-Northern Ireland match. John Southall.
3 minutes into the second half, the resistance is over. Denmark 1, Northern Ireland 0. Really poor goal defensively to give away. Jonas Vind with it just on the left of the 6-yard box, clipped it into the bottom right-hand corner, but Northern Ireland guilty of not clearing it away. Denmark 1, Northern Ireland 0.
Wales are still losing 2-1 at home to Armenia, and it's still Greece 1, Republic of Ireland 1. France, incidentally, are winning 2-0 in Gibraltar in that group. Mbappe scored with a penalty just before half-time. And in the other match in this group, North Macedonia 2-0 winners against Ukraine. England with the ball in front of the penalty area. Finally, a little bit of singing breaks out amongst the England fans. Those two flags at the back of the stand billowing away there. It's been such a windy last 24 hours here on the island. Now Shaw down the left-hand side. Shaw towards the edge of the penalty area, but cuts back. Gives it back to Jordan Henderson. And then infield towards Rice. Rice now slips it forward. And then, lovely work inside the box from Maddison, but couldn't get a powerful shot in the end. He had men either side of him. And actually, the referee spotted an infringement in there, a foul on the defender, and it's a free kick to Malta. Matt Upson.
Lovely little kind of feint from Maddison, comes inside onto his right foot and just looks like he's going to shoot, but then chops it back onto his left foot. But in fairness to the Malta players, they really do get bodies back in that area of the pitch and they just smother it out, and in the end Maddison has to kick through the back of one of them, which is why the referee's given a free kick in the 18-yard box to Malta. But nice play from him.
So 3-0 England lead. The goal that Harry Kane scored, incidentally, is his 19th penalty for England. That was his 50th competitive goal for England. So 50 of the 56 he scored have been in either tournaments or qualifiers, Nations League. And Tauma for Malta to Nwoko. Nwoko tried to find the pass back to Tauma, but it was cut out efficiently by Declan Rice. Matt, if you were sitting down with Declan Rice and advising him on what to do next, what should he do this summer? What would your advice be?
Have a holiday.
And have a think about it.
Have a think and a holiday. Yeah. I mean, I just think he's capable of anything, really, and I think that's the level of interest that is around Declan Rice at the moment, and understandably, just watching him in this game, he's on cruise control. He's instinctive, John, isn't he, in terms of responsibility for a player of his age, and I think he's brought a lot more to his game in terms of with the ball. The amount of marauding runs you see him for West Ham, driving the ball through into attacking areas as well, getting the odd goal. He's becoming very well-rounded as a central midfield player, and his personality, well, he is captain material as well, so he's got a lot to offer. And understandably, there's a lot of interest.
Alexander-Arnold playing it through. Foden, nice from him on the turn. Tried to slip it forward for Maddison, but just overhit by Foden, and it ran through for a goal kick. And Rice is here, but no Jude Bellingham, who has had other matters to deal with this week. He's not been involved because of a knee injury, but when we turned up earlier in the week on Tuesday at St George's Park, the England squad were training. The Manchester City players hadn't joined up yet, but Jude Bellingham was there and was actually watching them, just leaning on the hoardings around the pitch at St George's Park. And Gareth Southgate was telling us yesterday that he's had a lot to do with Bellingham over the course of the last couple of weeks, and Bellingham's been having his rehab at St George's Park. So I think Kieran Trippier as well telling us that he's spoken to him regularly. Kieran Trippier, who of course played in Madrid with Atletico, and it is Kieran Trippier in possession of the ball at the moment on the halfway line, chipping it over the top to Maguire on the other side of the centre circle. England 3-0 up if you've just joined us on this Friday night, this European Championship qualifier. England on the way to making it 3 wins out of 3 in this group and staying comfortably top of the section, as Gay just touches it back to Jordan Pickford. Pickford low with the pass out towards the right-hand side. Pickford's another player whose future is a little open to question. Now Gay on the edge of the box. Pickford was almost ahead of Gay when he had it. Then the pass through the middle. Maddison turns, curls the ball forward. That was intercepted by Attard, but Kane is onto this. Kane just outside the area. White shirts marauding forward. Kane's ball to the edge of the box is headed away by Mbong. Going to go back to Cardiff in a moment, but England continue to press. And Shaw with a deep cross looking for Kane, but the challenge came in on him just in the nick of time, and the ball bounces out of play, and referee Payats is not sure whether that's a goal kick or a corner. In fact, he's given it as a goal kick, which has been disputed by England. Harry Kane is saying surely the assistant on this side will see that took a touch off the Maltese player, but no, it isn't, and it is a goal kick.
Well, the assistant flagged for a goal kick, didn't he? So he thought it was as well.
Goal kick. Anyway, let's get the latest on Wales-Armenia. Carl Roberts.
11 minutes played in the second half. It remains Wales 1, Armenia 2, but all of those 11 minutes have been in the Armenian half. Half chances for Wales, Joe Rodon and Dan James, but nothing concrete, and Wales still trail. Wales 1, Armenia 2.
Many of the lights being switched on the phones around the stadium here, the Takali Stadium. So we're seeing that in the home sections. They're waving them in the air, reminiscent of those Coldplay concerts that we've seen pictures of over the course of the last couple of weeks or so. And Marcus Rashford is going to come on for England, and Callum Wilson as well. So no Eberici Eza just yet. Wilson and Rashford. And one would suspect that Harry Kane's going to get a rest as the ball is headed back to goalkeeper Bonello. More goals. Greece are now 2-1 up on Republic of Ireland. So Greece back in front, 2-1 against Ireland, and Latvia 1, Turkey 1. Latvia 1, Turkey 1. So Malta with the ball. It's going to be a triple change, and actually England are also going to bring on, who is the third player down there? As Malta have the ball halfway inside their own
Tyrone Mings.
It is Tyrone Mings who's just stepping forward. So Tyrone Mings, the number 17, will come on. So Mings, Rashford and Wilson, a triple change coming, having already brought on Phil Foden at half-time. And here is Steve Borge for Malta, who are going to make a couple of changes themselves. And the ball bounces to Foden, just outside the box. Foden through to Kane, little delay, Kane chips it goalwards, and it's just shepherded round the post by Steve Borge, who nearly actually ran into the post as he was trying to avoid it, and it was narrowly wide. Goal kick though, but Kane, I think that might be his last opportunity to get his 57th goal.
I mean, his eyes just lit up there, Harry Kane, didn't they? I think he's seen the activity on the sideline and thought, oh, I'm going to get another goal just before I go off, but wasn't quite able to find the finish. Tries to chip the keeper as he comes out, just dink that little ball over the top of him, and his defender's recovering, doesn't get enough pace on the ball, doesn't end up in the back of the net.
Right, changes are being made. Luke Shaw looks as though he's coming off first of all. Kieran Trippier, I think, is going to go across to the left side of defence, and yes, Harry Kane is also making way. He'll be annoyed with himself for not taking that chance there. So Jordan Henderson is the other man coming off for England. So Henderson, Kane and Shaw off. Rashford, Wilson and Mings are on. And Malta are also making a couple of changes. Always enjoy this. 5 substitutions at the same time. And I'm not sure the numbers are necessarily corresponding with the players who are actually coming onto the field at the moment. So let me sort out the England changes first. So Marcus Rashford is on to play for England in a qualifier for the World Cup or the European Championship for the first time for 4 years.
Yeah, that's an unbelievable stat, isn't it, when you think about it? I mean, that's a long time that he hasn't played in a qualifier, but he slipped over to that left-hand side of the front three, and James Maddison just dropping back into the midfield role that Jordan Henderson was taking up before he went off. So that's kind of the balance of the team. Trippier back on the right hand side, and it's Guerre who's been pushed out to the left back position with Mings and Maguire as the 2 centre backs. So those are the England changes after all those substitutions.
Yeah, And let's get another update from Denmark, Northern Ireland with John Southall.
Well, it's Denmark 1, Northern Ireland 0. Northern Ireland just had a chance, actually. Schmeichel with the save at the near post. It was a really good save down to his right-hand side. But they're just in danger of being overrun here a bit, Northern Ireland. A couple of chances, Højbjerg with a 25-yard great strike, fraction wide. Then Eriksson, lovely ball through to Højlund, and he was denied by Peacock Farrell. Denmark 1, Northern Ireland 0.
Thank you, John. And the ball just out of play at the moment for a throw into England on the far side of the field. So Callum Wilson is on up front, having been at the World Cup, but finished as Newcastle's 18-goal top scorer this season. So excellent season from Callum Wilson. Of course, Ivan Toney, had it not been for his ban, may well, I'm sure he would have been involved in this, in these qualifiers.
Yeah, I think, obviously Toney in cracking form, really, and a shame that he's not able to play, but Callum Wilson will grab that opportunity and try and run with it. I mean, he had a great impact in the World Cup, coming off the bench in that centre-forward position. I thought he was a real positive in that role, and he's hoping to continue in a similar fashion for England.
So it is Malta 0, England 3, and we're in just past the hour mark in this match. Malta with a free kick just inside their own half. Kalma does well, shaven-headed with his beard. The man who plays in Belgium. Then to the left-hand side to Attard. It bounces back for Zach Muscat on the edge of the area. We've got two Muscats on the field now. Nikolai Muscat has just come on. He was the man who is winning his 6th cap tonight. Captains his club here on the island of Malta, Gezira. So he came on for Christensen in the midfield, and Alexander Satoriano has come on as well to play up front in the place of Kirian Nwoko. So those are the two changes that Malta made. Malta defending at the moment. Steve Borge comes away with the ball as well, plays it back towards the edge of the penalty area. Kazakhstan now winning 2-0 in San Marino. That is in Northern Ireland's group. And we are seeing a Maltese attack. We've not seen too many of those in the match. Jordan Pickford yet to make a save. He's really only had a handful of touches, but it is Malta with Kalma on the left-hand side. I wondered whether he would play the whole match, having been doubtful because of injury, but he's such an important player, still on the field, as the ball is played to the right-hand side by Ferdinando Arpap, who scored the own goal, the opening goal, and then it's clipped over the top, but no one will reach that in a red shirt, and it bounces out of play for a throw-in to England. Don't get too many Ferdinandos in world football, do you? But Fernandinhos.
Yeah, not as a first name, do you?
Not a Ferdinando.
No, Ferdinando.
It's got a touch of the Eurovisions about it, hasn't it? As Malta have the ball at the back with Steve Borge, who then will play it back to Bonello. So no further scoring since half-time, when England were 3-0 up. Really, they had the match won with just over half an hour on the clock with those 3 goals that they scored. North Macedonia now 2-1 up on Ukraine. So 2-1 in the other match in this group.
They're doing well, aren't they? North Macedonia.
Knocked Italy out of the World Cup,
getting some
famously.
good results lately.
So might not be plain sailing for England, although they're the 4th ranked team in the group. When the draw was made, they came out of pot 4, North Macedonia. England, world ranked number 5, as seems to have been the case since time began. It always seems England are world number 5. Back it comes to Gay, who plays it forward, but that's way beyond the run of Rashford, and it bounces out of play for a throw into Malta, half inside their own half. Gareth Southgate just coming forward. The breeze, the Mediterranean breeze, just blows open his dark-coloured jacket as he gives some instructions to Kieran Trippier. Here's Rashford on the left-hand side, but that comes to nothing. It's very congested over there, and in the end Steve Borge plays the ball back to goalkeeper Bonello, who takes a touch. Malta playing it out from the back rather precariously, but Borge was able to play it back into the right-back area, and now Mbong will hit it long into centre field, where that is chested down by Nikolai Muscat, the newly arrived Nikolai Muscat, and then the pass to the left-hand side that Attard can't keep in, so it's a throw into England. Malta 0, England 3, BBC Radio 5 Live. Another update from Cardiff, Carl Roberts.
We've had 20 minutes of the second half. It's still Wales 1, Armenia 2. Wales are about to make a substitution. They're going to bring on Portsmouth's Joe Morrell and Nottingham Forest's Nico Williams. I think the Wales captain Aaron Ramsey will be leaving, and he's had little or no influence on this game in the 65 minutes we played. Wales 1, Armenia 2.
All the interviews, by the way, from these qualifiers tonight, you'll be able to hear on the 5 Live Football Daily podcast in the morning. As ever, you can download for free and receive it every morning. So we'll have the interviews on there, and all of the various BBC Sporting podcast offerings. Test match special, of course, the close of play special now every day, and lots of Vitality Blast cricket being played tonight as well. You can listen to commentary on that via the cricket page on the BBC Sport website and app. Here is Mbong on the right hand side. Now Tauma just outside the area, and then it runs away from him as Kieran Trippier will step forward, and Trippier now to Rashford. Rashford plays the ball to the right hand side to Foden. Foden approaching the penalty area, still going, then plays it towards the left hand side where the shot is blocked, but it is bouncing Callum Wilson's effort that is blocked on inside the box and bounces out. Really threatened to open up for England there, but Malta should clear this away, which they haven't quite done yet. And in fact, Wilson is onto the ball. It was given away. Wilson's ball across is cleared away on the edge of the box, and now Alexander-Arnold again. Alexander-Arnold in, and Rashford goes for goal but couldn't get a clean shot on that, and that is cleared away towards the halfway line as well. Latvia 1, Turkey 2 now in Wales group, and in Cardiff. We'll go there in a moment, because Trippier is playing the ball across from the right-hand side, couldn't reach Foden. So come in again, Carl Roberts.
It's Wales 1, Armenia 3 here at the Cardiff City Stadium, and we've got a quarter of the game remaining, and Wales just picked apart. It's the second goal for Grant Leon Mamadova. He's been playing for Bayern Munich's second team this season. He'll be with Borussia Mönchengladbach next season. Through ball and one touch finish past Danny Ward, and Wales's Euro 2024 qualification hopes are hanging by a thread here. Wales 1, Armenia 3.
Really disappointing scoreline for Wales, and we've got a stoppage here. There's a Malta player down inside the box. It was after it was when Callum Wilson was working the ball across from the right hand side. I'm not sure what happened there.
He's just kind of jolted his knee or his ankle a little bit. It was Borge, the captain, who was just trying to shadow Callum Wilson wide, and he just gets his kind of studs caught in the turf when he changes direction. I mean, he's had a busy game, hasn't he? He's not done bad, actually, the captain. He's had a pretty steady game, but he's given his all, and I think now in this last 20-odd minutes or so, he's probably not used to the kind of intensity that he's been getting tested in this game. He's had to kind of hold that back three together. But England really should have had a shot on target previously. They had a really nice breakaway which Rashford started, and just the final pass wasn't quite there. But they're certainly pressurising again, Malta.
England are going to make another change, and we're going to see Eberici Eze win his first cap for England at the age of 24, called up 2 years ago, and agonisingly actually picked up an injury, really nasty injury, an Achilles injury, on the day that he was called up by Gareth Southgate in 2021. But now, 2 years later, and after an excellent season with Crystal Palace, where he's really finished the season strongly under Roy Hodgson, 10 goals top scorer, Eberici Eze comes onto the field to win his first cap for England and replaces James Maddison.
Yeah, big moment for him, certainly in the circumstances that you just mentioned, John. You know, when you're in that form, you get that call up, you're on top of the world, and then all of a sudden you're injured, and then it's not just a niggle, is it? You know, he had a serious problem which he had to overcome, and he's been in really good form, so credit to him for sticking at it, and a big moment for him and his family.
Yeah, could play for Nigeria, Eze, but he was born in Greenwich, and I did ask him the question earlier this week about when it was that he made up his mind, as England come forward, ball on the right-hand side with Wilson, Callum Wilson of Newcastle, going back to his club mate, his club captain, Kieran Trippier, who will pass it all the way back towards Pickford. But that's it now. He's played in a competitive match, Eze, and he won't be playing for Nigeria, and here he is now. Spoke so well, actually, when I was asking him about the effect that Roy Hodgson has had on his game. And, you know, sometimes players will talk about their manager, but there was real fondness in what, as I said, about how Roy Hodgson and Ray Lewington as well, who was mentioned several times, have done. The former England manager and coach, as you will know. Here is Rice in on the challenge in centre field. England conceding a free kick just inside their own half. Equaliser for Ukraine, who have come back against North Macedonia and made it 2-2. North Macedonia 2, Ukraine 2 in Skopje. Free kick for Malta.
He's an interesting player to have, Eze, isn't he? Because he's out of a slightly different mould in terms of that midfield position. He likes that left foot, and he can burst forward. He can play high and wide as well. And I think he is, again, another really good attacking option for either midfield or adaptable as a number 10 or a wide of a front three.
And now he's kind of playing, well, we'll come back to that, because Malta are having a rare attack up towards the edge of the England penalty area, but Rice comes in, nips the ball away. They haven't completely cleared it yet after it was being brought forward by Satoriano into the box, but in the end they did the job. Rice now with the ball in the left back position. Tyrone Mings, who's made his England comeback here very quietly, coming on when they made the 3 changes. We were concentrating on Rashford and Wilson at the time, but Tyrone Mings is onto the field. Maguire long and forward out towards the left hand side. Rashford allows it to run down near the corner flag. Rashford now sets off into the penalty area, beats his man, still going Rashford to the byline, and then the covering challenge was there to put it behind by Arpap for a corner for England.
Lovely diagonal ball from Harry Maguire, stepping out of defence with his right foot, clips that diagonal. I just wanted Marcus Rashford to maybe be a little bit more decisive and step in on that first touch. He lets the ball bounce, and then he's got a bit of work to do. Lovely piece of footwork to go around the outside of Mbong, and then the tackle just came in, puts it out for a corner.
Corner to be taken from the left-hand side. England, group of 4 men around the penalty spot, and the referee actually comes across because there are 3 England players and 3 Maltese players in a bit of a wrestling match there. The referee's had a word. Here comes the corner, a deep one towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Maguire got his head to it, up into the air, but it's cleared away by Malta, and then Wilson goes down in a heap and is penalised for handball. So a free kick to Malta, and there's been another goal in the Wales-Armenia game. Carl Roberts.
72 minutes played. It's Wales 2, Armenia 3. Harry Wilson with the goal, a tap in from 6 yards after a layoff from Kiefer Moore from a long throw-in. I'm more used to seeing Cardiff City score goals like that in this stadium, but Wales are back in it. 18 minutes remaining. Wales 2, Armenia 3.
By the way, you can listen to that via BBC Sounds, if you search for Radio Wales. So the commentary is available on BBC Sounds. Malta 0, England 3. Free kick to be taken by goalkeeper Bonello. Long and right-footed, but Maguire is underneath that to head it forward. Phil Foden, with England now playing with a 4-2-3-1 system, so Eze is playing in the number 10 role.
I would say so. I mean, he's either just more advanced to that 3, or he's just more central. He certainly looks to be a bit higher, which suits him. That's the type of player he is. He wants to be in that advanced part of the midfield, maybe just off the front. Looks like more Trent Alexander-Arnold and Declan Rice are sitting a little bit as a 2, but they're just in such frequent controlled possession, England, that is, you know, the shape and formation, it just, wherever they feel comfortable in receiving the ball, that's what's dictating their shape at the moment, because you very rarely see them set up out of possession.
And in actual fact, as we look at them now, you know, it's effectively 3 men at the back, with Gay on the left, Mings in the middle, and Maguire on the right, and Trippier's way forward, way up on the right-hand side.
Absolutely, because that's where the space is, and they're in good enough control. They trust each other with the ball well enough, and that's been the story of this game, hasn't it? That's why it's such a hard marker to really gauge how well you can only do what you can do in a specific game, and there's a lot of the players that have done very good things. But it's completely different when you're playing against a team that you know is going to carry a much bigger threat, is going to be much more physical, they've got more pace, and I think that's when you really get to see or test the formation or the tactics or the selection or individual players.
England with Wilson near the edge of the penalty area, just a little foot in from Malta to clear it away, but here is Eze Going to go back to Cardiff again in a moment as England play to Foden on the right-hand side. Little ball in from Trippier to Rashford. Trippier goes back to the halfway line. So, what news, Carl Roberts?
It's Wales 2, Armenia 4 with 15 minutes left. If you thought Armenia were going to sit back and protect their lead, think again. I think there might be a VAR check, but it's the Argentinian-born Lucas Zalarayan with his second goal of the game. But we are awaiting a VAR check, as I say. I think we've just had a thumbs up from the referee, so the goal will stand. It's Wales 2, Armenia 4, and I'm heading to the history books to see the last time Wales scored 5 goals. 15 minutes remaining.
So Armenia restore their 2-goal lead as Jody Jones has to make way. He's substituted. He's going to be replaced by Jurgen de Gabriele, who is winning his 25th cap for Malta tonight. But Jody Jones, when he's had the opportunity, he's done okay.
Yeah, certainly in the first half he had a little go, didn't he? Got the crowd off their seats and looked to just be a bit more aggressive and a bit more adventurous with the ball. He looked pacey, comfortable in possession, but you know they've not created a thing, Malta, all game. It's been thoroughly professional from England in terms of their concentration at the back, not allowing any time or space. There's been no mistakes whatsoever in terms of defensively or on the ball in that back line. You have to credit England with a very well polished performance here.
Quite a dramatic match, the other match in this group. It's still North Macedonia 2, Ukraine 2, but North Macedonia have now been reduced to 10 men. They've had a man sent off, so down to 10 men for the remainder of that match. Must be around about 15 minutes to play. I noticed that quite a number of the England fans, over 4,000 of them with the England Supporters Travel Club, have begun to head towards the exits and back down to the attractions around St Julian's Bay and St George's Bay, and they are intent, I would imagine, on enjoying the remainder of their time here in Malta. Here is Eza, who allows it to run to Rashford. Rashford thought about a shot, goes round his man, still going to the edge of the D, hits the shot which hits a defender, bounces to Callum Wilson, and Wilson takes it out back into the Malta right back area, still in possession, and then goes to ground, but then gets back up, keeps possession, and is then picked up for a foul of his own. So it's a free kick to Malta away over there deep inside their own half. So 3-0 continues to be the scoreline. Seemed like an odd one. Oh, it's a handball again, isn't it?
It's a handball.
Yeah, when he went to ground.
I think he feels that Callum Wilson went over too easily, and as he goes down the ball just hits his hand, so he gives the handball against him.
So a free kick to Malta. Just over 10 minutes to play. And Henry Bonello, and once he conceded his third goal after half an hour, we must have been thinking, what sort of a night am I going to have? And then they bring on Callum Wilson and Marcus Rashford. But remember, when England were last here back in 2017, they scored 3 late goals. So it's not over yet. Malta with it on the left-hand side. And here is Attard. Attard carrying it halfway inside England territory. And then they go back to the halfway line again. Zach Muscat, the pass out to Mbong. Mbong just keeps it in play on the right. A little ball infield towards Yannick Yankam. Then the cross towards the back post is won by Trippier. Long ball forward, looking for Callum Wilson, but that is dealt with well by Zach Muscat. And Malta have the ball again on the edge of their own box. Back to Cardiff again, Carl Roberts.
12 minutes to go. It's Wales 2, Armenia 4, but Wales are down to 10 men. Bournemouth striker Kiefer Moore has been sent off. He got in a tangle with the Armenian goalkeeper Onyan Chancharevich. Moore is off, he can't believe it. Wales 2, Armenia 4.
And France are now winning 3-0 in Gibraltar, so matching England's scoreline in what is the Republic of Ireland group. And the third goal, it was an own goal, so they've also scored. Benefited from an own goal tonight. So Gibraltar 0, France 3. Ball up towards Callum Wilson near the edge of the D. Goes past one man, it's taken it very wide. Foden's available in the middle. Here's the cross, which is deflected, but deflected for goalkeeper Bonello to pat down. We always thought these matches might have an end-of-season feel to them, and that's exactly what we've got.
The second half, for sure, certainly has. I mean, the first half, England went through the gears when they needed to, got the goals, and even with the changes, it's not through a lack of will or not wanting to score. There's players on the pitch like Callum Wilson, Foden, Rashford, really desperate for a goal, want to put one in the back of the net. I think they've defended relatively well at times, Malta. They're not a team that really do get thumped at home, John, are they? There's not massive score lines here where they've been beaten heavily.
What's going on here? The referee's blown his whistle and stopped play.
Yeah.
Because they've spotted a potential handball, and it could be a penalty. So this must be the Wilson cross that we saw from the right-hand side of the penalty area, which deflected off the defender to goalkeeper Bonello. And I think this would be very harsh, However, think of the handball that was given against Jack Grealish in the FA Cup final. And it's Steve Borge who is in the way of the cross from Callum Wilson, who turns his body to the side, but his hand is slightly out in front of his body. And there are, 2 yards, 3 yards between the two players as it's crossed over?
I mean, if this gets given...
It'll get given.
It'll get given. You just lose the will.
It'll get given.
With this handball situation.
Referee Igor Payats is looking at the screen, turns away,
he can't give
walks towards the side of the pitch. We're waiting for the rectangle. On he comes onto the field. There's the rectangle. It's a penalty. It's very like the Grealish. Well, I mean, in terms of not the body position, but in terms of the proximity, the position of the defender. I mean, he's clipped his finger end, which is
his arm's inside in his body. It's not his arm is not outstretched whatsoever.
But as we said then, FA Cup final day, as we're saying now,
it's not
by
outstretched.
The laws of the game now. The referees are being instructed to give these.
But he has to decide that his arm is in an unnatural position.
Well, outside
that isn't unnatural.
Outside the silhouette.
But your arms are outside your silhouette, aren't they? Your arms are not inside your torso.
I agree with you. I think that is incredibly harsh.
Just ridiculous
as a handball.
It has to be. It has to be looked at, and there needs to be a better definition of what that is, because they just can't get it right.
Anyway, England have their second penalty of the match. Harry Kane's not on the field anymore. He must be sitting down there licking his lips, wishing that he was. But it's Callum Wilson who will have his chance to score for England. Callum Wilson from the penalty spot. Little steps from him, right-footed, sends the goalkeeper the wrong way and makes it Malta 0, England 4, with what is the Newcastle United striker's second goal for his country. Scored on his debut back in 2018, and he's had to wait until now, June 2023, to make it 2 goals for England. But a good penalty.
Yeah, good penalty. Confident. Strokes it into the corner. Ludicrous decision from the referee and officials to even draw attention to what that was. I mean, it's just not a handball, but nonetheless, Callum Wilson has a job to do, and he does it well. Strokes it into the bottom corner, and England, like they have been for most of this game, in total cruise control.
So Malta 0, England 3, England 4. Callum Wilson getting himself on the score sheet, and play is back underway. In fact, Aberici Eze has won it back near the halfway line, gives it to his left to Rashford. Rashford now approaching the penalty area. A step over from him, then the shot, it's deflected right across the goal, and then it's driven goalwards by Eze, and it's blocked. There was a defender and goalkeeper in there, and between them they've managed to deflect it out for a throw-in on the right-hand side. So England now trying to step on the accelerator in these final minutes.
Yeah, they like a late goal here, England, don't they? It's certainly proving that way. They're so tired now, the Maltese players. They're just kind of ambling through the motions, and if England have any little sparkle, spurt of change of gear, they're going to create something. And Phil Foden just missing out there at the back post.
So Malta with the ball at the back, which they should clear away. They're trying to pass it out from the back, but England are all over them with the press, and Borge actually does in the end go for the ball towards the halfway line. Very much looking forward to seeing how the US Open golf develops over the course of the next couple of days. Ian Carter is in Los Angeles and actually has news on the second round for us, I presume on Rory McIlroy, Ian.
Indeed, back-to-back birdies for him. He's just going to tap in for a par, and with 2 holes to go, he has turned this round around. 1 under par for his second round, 6 under overall, and 3 shots behind the current leader. That's the American Wyndham Clark.
Thank you, Ian. So commentary tomorrow night on Sports Extra, and then Sunday night on 5 Live. Norway-Scotland is on 5 Live, live from Oslo from 5 o'clock tomorrow. And we've got so much excellent live sport to come during the course of this summer. The Ashes obviously underway now. We've got the Open Golf Championship, got the Ryder Cup as well to come. Wimbledon, full 2 weeks of coverage on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. But here, the Euro qualifiers with Eze in possession on the left-hand side. Eze goes through the challenge, now into the box. He's challenged by Mbong and goes tumbling down. And the referee says it's a corner this time. And Ukraine have now made it 3-2. North Macedonia 2, Ukraine 3, with North Macedonia down to 10 men in that match. But a corner from the left.
We gave him the kiss of death.
So from
North Macedonia, didn't we?
From the point you started talking up North Macedonia, everything's gone wrong. Malta going to make another change for the final minutes, and Attard, who is playing on the left-hand side as the left wing-back, is going to be replaced like for like, I presume, by Wan Korbalan, who is another who plays for the Maltese champions, Hamrun Spartans, who won the league by a difference. So Malta 0, England 4, the score. Play will resume with a corner to England, so we'll wait and see how this develops before we go elsewhere. Wales 4-2 down, Northern Ireland 1-0 down, Republic of Ireland 2-1 down in Greece. So this latest corner for England from the left, lots of movement in the box, and it is glance-headed well wide of the post actually, and behind for a goal kick by Callum Wilson. So Malta 0, England 4, and we're going to go first to the Denmark-Northern Ireland match, and John Southall.
Why not, John? It's Denmark 1, Northern Ireland 0. Northern Ireland have about 6 minutes to try and find the equaliser. Kerr's just put a header wide for the home side, just not creating enough chances. We've said that a few times for Northern Ireland. Isaac Price with the best chance of the half, saved by Schmeichel. Denmark 1, Northern Ireland 0.
And back to Cardiff, Carl Roberts.
3 minutes to play. It's Wales 2, Armenia 4. Wales down to 10 men. And their attacking threat has been blunted following Kiefer Moore's red card. The fans are heading for the exits, and I don't blame them. 3 minutes to go. Wales 2, Armenia 3. 4.
Yeah, really disappointing. Greece still winning 2-1 against Republic of Ireland. Malta coming forward. No Maltese man has ever scored against England, but it is England on the attack again. Foden on the right-hand side. Foden back across. Eze just dropped his shoulder on the edge of the D, tried to play it into Rashford. I thought Mbong was going to bring him down for another penalty there. Rashford just too quick for Mbong. Then the cross from the left-hand side, but it's caught.
He had another go. He did have another go there, didn't he? First time didn't get there. Rashford again onto his left foot, and Mbong looking like he's going to go to ground and just wipe him out, but they're struggling to cope with how sharp he's looking. He does look quick.
Rashford, Wilson and Foden as the front three, with Eze in there as well.
Yeah, it's not easy when your legs have gone.
No, it's not. Yes, Malta 0, England 4. Here's Yannick Jankam, tall man in the Maltese midfield. He's a rapper as well. When he's rapping, he's just known as Yannick. But when he's on the football field, he's Yannick Jankam.
Have you listened to some, John?
I suspect his sounds will be blaring out across Gozo tonight. But
they'll be on your playlist.
Well, you never know. Throw in for Malta, just inside the England half. So 4-0. England's record score against Malta is 5-0. And even though we're in the 90th minute now, you wouldn't rule out England getting another one here. They look hungry, those England players who are out there.
You never know, the referee might give a handball or something.
Another one, yeah.
Could reward them.
Yeah. Here's Mings, Tyrone Mings, bringing the ball out from the back. It was March last year that Mings last played for England. This is 18th cap, and he's another one actually who's been rewarded, isn't he, for his improved form?
Yeah, he's really come back into form. Looked like his England days may well be over, but he's done so well to play his way back into contention. Gareth Southgate knows what he's about, knows his character, He finds himself back in the squad and on the pitch.
3 minutes of added time for England to add to the 4 goals that they've scored already. An Arpap own goal in the first half from Saka's cross. A very good goal from Trent Alexander-Arnold, or a well-struck goal, shall we say. And then Harry Kane with the penalty that he won himself. And then that penalty that was given for another one of those handballs that really Steve Borge couldn't do anything about. And Callum Wilson, whose cross it was, won the penalty, scored from the penalty spot. So those the goal scorers for England tonight so far. England with Declan Rice, who's going to play all of this match 9 days after the European final. Rice, then back to Maguire, and then Trent Alexander-Arnold goes for a roll of the ball on halfway, but Tauma was able to take it away from him. But there was that line of defence from Maguire. Foden, the only of the Manchester City players to come onto the field. I thought we might see Calvin Phillips, in all honesty, but Declan Rice has played the whole match, as I say. Here's Rashford over on the far side. Marcus Rashford back into Mark Gay, and then through the middle. Callum Wilson got to it first, but his touch took it away to Tauma. And we've got just around 90 seconds of added time to play here in Malta. Ball going back to goalkeeper Bonello, who passes out to the far side, and Bong keeps it in. Mark Gay actually puts in the challenge, wins the ball, does well, then plays it forward. Rashford receiving it, 35 yards out. He's off on another run, goes past his man, might have been brought down. The referee's not given that as a free kick. Foden took it on, and goalkeeper Bonello was able to clear.
I mean, he's looked to go at the players, Marcus Rashford, every time he receives the ball. He's on the back foot, driving at a defender, gets his footwork going, can go one way or the other, and that certainly looked like a foul. I mean, he went past one player, and then it looked to be a bit of a clumsy challenge, didn't it? And Rashford ended up on the floor, but the referee wasn't having any of it.
Very often, you know, in the sort of early days under Gareth Southgate, in these sort of matches, Marcus Rashford, I've seen it, you know, almost opposition players cannot live with him when he runs at them like that.
Yeah, when he's in that aggressive mindset and his confidence is high and he's fit and he's sharp. I mean, we saw it for 2 or 3 months this season after Qatar, didn't we? How well he played for Manchester United. I mean, he was on form through February, March. He was just absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, as we've said a couple of times during the course of the season, that I think if Gareth Southgate, with hindsight, knew the sort of form that he was in, then he might well have played a greater role in the World Cup. But it is 4-0 to England. The time's almost up. Malta in possession. Alexander-Arnold, well, he was the man of the first half. Went a little quiet in the second, but that is it. And England make it 3 wins out of 3 in the group, and just about as straightforward as it gets, with the 3 goals in the first half, the own goal from Apap, then Alexander-Arnold, the goal of the night, Harry Kane with a penalty. 50 competitive goals now for England for Harry Kane, 56 in total, and then that letter of the law handball that resulted in substitute Callum Wilson making it 4-0 late in the match. Matthew Upson.
Never in doubt from England. Professional job, not just in terms of creating goals and moments in the game that stood out in terms of how those goals were scored, but also just the concentration levels all the way from Pickford through the defence, the substitutes that came on, the application, probably everything that Gareth Southgate was looking for from his team in terms of mentally and being prepared to play. So big tick in that box, but a really comfortable performance and a comfortable result for England.
Well, Harry Maguire's leading the England players, Gareth Southgate as well, and Declan Rice. But actually, many of those 4,000 England fans, many have gone already, and quite a number of them are just rushing out of the exits there. Look as though they cannot wait to get back down to the resort.
They just want to serenade you later in your hotel room.
But yeah, job well done for England, as I think we knew it would be. Certainly not the most competitive sporting contest of the day involving England, but very comfortable. Malta 0, England 4, the final score here in Malta.
John, they're off to that festival you were talking about throughout the game. I know we have you for a short period of time before you head off to speak with Gareth Southgate and some of the players as well, but ultimately professional performance, job well done. You said 3-0 up after half an hour, and that really took the sting out of it, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. You know, they are one of the great minnows, Malta. They've only won 7 competitive matches in World Cup, European Championship qualifiers, and they've played well over 200 of them since 1962. You know, barely a notable win in the entire time that they've played. Under their new coach, Michele Marcolini, you know, there have been signs that, in fact, if you look at it man for man, England are just streets ahead, and they've proved that with this performance and scoreline.
And Rob Green, Eze, he made his England debut in the second half that so many Crystal Palace fans as well wanted to see.
Yes, and he had to wait a while, didn't he? I think the only thing you would say was just get him on early. Just get him on and play him. If it was Saka to come off, I mean, we know Marcus Rashford can do that to players. We know how good Phil Foden is. What we don't know, what's Gareth Southgate learned from that? Give him more time on the pitch. I would have liked to have seen him come on earlier, but brilliant for him. What a story. Rejected, came back as a youngster and worked his way up through from Reading to QPR and then into Crystal Palace, and what a brilliant moment.
John, would you like to have seen him given more time on the pitch tonight?
Yeah, I think so. We were talking about that at half-time. I think the other side of that is that, you know, I think that Marcus Rashford, I just get the impression from the way that he played tonight that there might have been a bit of a challenge there from Gareth Southgate to not start him in this match, and to say, right, you know, you didn't get a starting berth,
I agree.
but you know, what are you capable of in a match like this? And you know, maybe we'll see more of Eze at Old Trafford on Monday, when I would suspect Marcus Rashford will start.
And Matt, that opportunity for him, it's been such a long time coming, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has. I mean, I think John's right in terms of we can all talk about individual players' needs, Eze to get more time, but I think that spreading that is difficult for Gareth Southgate, because I look at Foden. For me, he needs to play. We need to see him in an England jersey doing well, getting confident, showing what he can do. Marcus Rashford not played in a competitive qualifier for, was it 4 years, John? Incredible. So he needs time on the pitch. So, and I think he did lay him down a challenge. The way he played, the intensity he showed when he got the ball, he was decisive, he was aggressive, trying to drive at players. The game was dead and buried. So it's all about what he was going to show individually to the manager and to us. And I think that's the challenge that he laid down, and that's what he wanted to see, that kind of reaction.
John, we're going to let you go and speak to Gareth Southgate.
Yes, you'll hear all of those interviews on the podcast, Football Daily podcast, in the morning, or possibly even later tonight.
Brilliant stuff.